Japanese horror didn't begin with The Ring or Ju-on. Long before that, filmmakers were crafting eerie, poetic, and visually breathtaking tales of terror. Today, we're diving into some of the most stunning Japanese horror films from the 1950s and 60s, movies that blend supernatural dread with cinematic beauty. First up is Ugetsu, directed by the legendary Kenji Mizoguchi. This isn't just a ghost story, it's a haunting fable about greed, war, and the consequences of ambition. The ghosts are tragic, not terrifying, and the cinematography, absolutely mesmerizing. Set during a time of civil unrest, the film follows two men, one obsessed with wealth, the other with fame, as they abandon their families in pursuit of their dreams. But when one of them meets a mysterious noblewoman, things take a turn toward the supernatural. Shot with long flowing takes and enveloped in misty, dreamlike landscapes, Ugetsu isn't out to scare you, it's here to haunt your soul. It's quiet horror, soaked in regret and sorrow, and it lingers long after the final frame. One of Japan's most famous ghost stories comes to life in The Ghost of Yotsuya. A tale of betrayal, murder, and revenge from beyond the grave, this film helped define the onryo or vengeful spirit subgenre that would echo for decades. The story follows a ronin named Iemon, whose lust for power and cruelty toward his wife Iwa sets off a chain of treachery and murder. But death doesn't end Iwa's suffering. It transforms her into an unrelenting spirit whose image and presence drive the guilty to madness. Director Nobuo Nakagawa stages the tale with theatrical elegance, combining eerie lighting, slow reveals, and lingering close-ups that make Iwa's ghostly visage unforgettable. It's not just a horror story. It's a morality play wrapped in spectral dread, reminding us that no crime stays buried forever. Kaidan is a visual feast, 4 supernatural tales told by director Masaki Kobayashi like moving paintings. Every frame is drenched in color, shadow, and texture, creating a world that feels both theatrical and otherworldly. From the melancholy dread of the black hair, to the icy beauty of the woman of the snow, the chilling tragedy of Hoichi the Earless, and the surreal unease of In a Cup of Tea, each tale feels like a self-contained ghostly dream, linked by the same hypnotic, painterly style. The sets aren't just backdrops, they're part of the storytelling, bending reality and heightening the sense that we've stepped into a folktale. It's not a film that lunges at you with jump scares. It creeps under your skin, lingering like an old ghost story told by candlelight. Haunting, hypnotic, and impossible to forget, Kaidan is the kind of horror that follows you home and whispers in your ear when the lights go out. Kuroneko, or Black Cat, is both elegant and eerie. 2 women brutally killed by a band of samurai return from the dead to avenge their deaths, seducing lone warriors and leading them to their doom. Shot in stark black and white, the film drapes its ghostly figures in flowing kimonos, often framed against the silver shimmer of moonlit bamboo. Director Kaneto Shindo uses slow, deliberate movement and ethereal lighting to create scenes that feel like they're unfolding in a fever dream. It's not just about revenge. It's about longing, loss, and the tragic pull between duty and desire. By the time the final confrontation arrives, Kuroneko has cast its spell, proving that horror can be both savage and exquisitely beautiful. Set in a war-torn swamp, Onibaba tells the story of two women, mother and daughter-in-law, who survived by ambushing lost soldiers, killing them, and selling their armor. But when a mysterious samurai mask enters the picture, everything takes a turn for the horrific. Director Kaneto Shindo transforms the tall reeds of the swamp into an endless living labyrinth, claustrophobic, swaying, and hiding both predator and prey. The mask itself, once worn, fuses terror with desire, twisting human faces into something monstrous. It's raw, sensual, and full of symbolic terror, exploring hunger, lust, and the destructive power of war. More than just a ghost story, Onibaba feels like a primal scream from the swamp, reminding us that the line between survival and damnation can be razor thin. If the afterlife looked like Jigoku, you'd never sin again. Directed by Nobuo Nakagawa, this film drags its characters and the audience into a shocking descent straight into Buddhist hell. The story begins with earthly sins, betrayal, jealousy, hit-and-run guilt. But by the halfway point, morality gives way to madness as the screen erupts with surreal punishments. Souls writhing in pools of blood, bodies torn apart, and sinners wandering endless flaming landscapes. Nakagawa uses bold color, experimental camera work, and a nightmarish sense of rhythm to create something no one in 1960 was ready for. It's a violent, expressionist fever dream, part morality tale, part avant-garde horror. Way ahead of its time, Jigoku paved the way for the splatter and surreal horror to come, but still stands as one of the most unforgettable visions of eternal damnation ever put on film. This Shochiku Studios production is part horror, part noir, and 100% atmosphere. A woman haunted by the brutal murder of her twin sister finds herself caught in a web of ghosts, revenge, and long-buried secrets. Shot in stunning black and white, the living skeleton turns its seascapes and ship interiors into something both beautiful and oppressive. Fog rolls in, shadows stretch across the walls, and death seems to hang in the air with every shot. With its mix of gothic eeriness, crime thriller plotting, and ghostly terror, The Living Skeleton stands as one of Shochiku's finest and most chilling contributions to Japanese horror. While often remembered as the birth of the kaiju genre, the original Godzilla is just as much a horror film as it is science fiction. Released in 1954, only 9 years after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it channels real national trauma into the figure of a towering, unstoppable monster. This isn't the campy, heroic Godzilla of later sequels. It's a nightmare made flesh. The creature rises from the ocean to lay waste to Tokyo with fire and fury, leaving charred ruins and mass casualties in its wake. Every scream, every shot of devastation carries the weight of post-war anxiety about nuclear destruction. Director Ishiro Honda and special effects master Eiji Tsuburaya crafted something both spectacular and terrifying, blending miniature effects with stark human drama. Godzilla isn't just a monster movie, it's an allegory, a warning, and one of the most sobering horror films of its time. These films aren't just scary, they're breathtaking. They whisper their horrors instead of screaming them, wrapping you in beauty even as they chill your blood. From haunted swamps to snowy forests, from vengeful spirits to monsters born of fire, Japanese horror in the 50s and 60s wasn't about cheap thrills. It was about atmosphere, artistry, and stories that stay with you long after the credits roll. Which of these classics have haunted your dreams? And which ones did I miss? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time as we keep digging into the eerie corners of cinema history.